you know, in some simple way, this whole practice, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I will say this. If I heard myself say this like 10 or 20 years ago, I would have left. But here it is. It inevitably is going to happen. Wow, that's funny. This is really about loving yourself. It really is. I'm sorry. Yeah. But let me explain that, because I heard that for years and I totally misunderstood it. And I actually don't even know when people say it if they understand what they're saying or not. So I always heard that. But what I realize is that the way most people say that, when I hear people talk about like, man, you really gotta love yourself, and you got, because you're awesome. Like, that's not loving yourself. That's liking yourself. And I want to make this very important distinction between liking yourself and loving yourself. So the stuff about, you know, where your friends will tell you that you're awesome and you're the greatest and, you know, all those things, you know, you probably are. I'm not arguing that at all. But that's conditional. That's about liking yourself. That's saying like, I do these things, or I am these ways, I have these characteristics, so I like myself. Or like, oh, I hate, there are these things I don't like, right? But that's about this game of liking and not liking. That's about approval and disapproval. That's judgment. That's conditional, right? And maybe that has its place. But what I'm actually talking about is something else, which is loving yourself. Loving yourself is something very different. Loving yourself is actually being with yourself. Like actually, and not the self like that, not your narrative, not your personality, but this being. So when we sit, like even now, if you just let yourself feel it, you feel how you can just sense this body, just kind of, and it's even more than just the body, but there's a somatic kind of energetic texture, of kind of just feel. And that's being, is what it's sometimes called. Ground of, in Buddhism, often is referred to as the ground of being. Some people, you can think of it as your soul. Some people call that God. But it's like this beingness that's not conditional. It's not, it's just there. It's always there, right? And so loving yourself is what I mean by that, and what I mean in this Buddhist context, is it's about actually learning to be with that or in that, almost like surrendering to it. I mean, actually, if you take it far enough, it gets really deep, because then there's this experience where that's actually all there is. And this person you thought you were was just this, you know, this movie you were watching.